Every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years. Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo,
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
The East Africa UK Tourism and Culture Expo 2024 is here, happening on 8th and 9th of November 2024 under the theme Enhancing Tourism as Engine for Social and Economic Transformation on the sidelines of WTM London at the Rembrandt Hotel, 11th Thalo, PI South Kensington, London, SW7 2RS, United Kingdom. For tickets, exhibitors will pay £1,000 and participants will pay £300. For more information, call +256 787 096 100 or +254 795 806 969. Visit www.eaukTourismExpo.com to register.
The Ministry of Health informs the general public that there are some cases of Mpox detected in Uganda. The ministry, working with partners and affected district local governments, are doing their best to contain the situation. The signs and symptoms of Mpox are body rash, fever, general body weakness, headache, sore throat, nasal congestion or cough, and swollen lymph nodes. You can prevent yourself from getting infected with Mpox by avoiding close contact with people who have been confirmed to have Mpox or who have signs and symptoms of Mpox, avoiding touching or sharing personal items like beddings, eating utensils, phones, or other belongings of a person who has the signs and symptoms of Mpox. Avoiding contact, including eating with all wild animals, alive or dead, especially those known to carry the virus, such as rodents and monkeys, and those that appear sick or have been found dead. Getting vaccinated if you're among those who have been identified to be at high risk of Mpox infection. Mpox is treatable and usually goes away after 2 to 4 weeks. However, it can be severe, causing even death, especially among children, pregnant women, and those with other health conditions. For more information and support, contact your nearest health worker. Call the Ministry of Health's toll-free line on 0800 100 066 or send a free SMS to YouReport on 8500.
Uganda, are you ready to kick things up to the next level? The Uganda National Lottery brings you Sports Take 10. Predict the results of 10 football games and win big. With tickets at only 500 shillings, join the fun and make your predictions count with Sports Take 10. Sports Take 10, your ticket to football glory.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
A healthy morning routine sets the tone for a positive and productive day. By incorporating mindful practices, you can enhance your physical and mental well-being. In this guide, we'll explore simple yet effective steps to create a morning routine that nourishes your body, sharpens your mind, and promotes a balanced start to each day. Number 1. Wake up early. Aim to wake up at a consistent time each day to regulate your body's internal clock. Give yourself enough time to complete your routine without rushing. Number 2. Hydrate. Start your day by drinking a glass of water to rehydrate your body after a night's sleep. Consider adding a squeeze of lemon for added benefits. Number 3. Practice mindfulness or meditation. Take a few minutes for mindfulness or meditation to set a positive and focused mindset for the day. Deep breathing exercises can also help calm your mind. Number 4, stretch or exercise. Engage in light stretching or a short exercise routine to wake up your muscles and boost circulation. This can be as simple as a few yoga poses, bodyweight exercises, or a quick morning walk. Number 5, healthy breakfast. Consume a nutritious breakfast that includes a mix of protein, fiber, and healthy fats. Options include whole grain cereals, smoothies, yogurt with fruits, or eggs. Number 6, personal care. Take time for personal hygiene, including showering, brushing your teeth, and any other grooming habits. This helps you feel refreshed and ready to face the day. Number 7, set daily goals. Outline your priorities for the day, both personal and professional. Break down larger tasks into smaller, more manageable goals with vitality and purpose. Thanks for watching. This program is produced by Sani Productions, powered by UBC TV.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Good morning, Uganda Extra. Robert Chirabonyonitono. Thank you so much, our viewer, for being with us right from the hour of 6:30 when we opened with our live broadcast till now. It is Good Morning Uganda, and this is an extension known as the Extra. Now, what usually happens is I have a guest or guests in studios with whom we discuss issues of national concern. And this morning, we want to focus on the education sector, but to be more specific when it comes to children with disabilities or special needs. Now, what happens is that most of the time, these are very vulnerable children. And they can attain some level of education up from the primary, then maybe a bit of secondary, but when it goes to higher institutions, say university, you may find that there are very few there. And for the first time ever in East Africa, we'll be having the first East African Conference on Disability Inclusive Higher Education. And this will happen at Kyambogo University. But I'm not the most competent person to discuss this. That's why I have two competent people on this matter. That is the Commissioner, Special Needs in the Ministry of Education and Sports, Madam Sarah Bugosi Kiboli. You're most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here on this show. My name is Sarah Bugosi Kiboli. I work with the Ministry of Education and Sports as the Commissioner for Special Needs and Inclusive Education. And I'm very happy to be here. Thank you. And
at the extreme end, I have Dr. Patrick Ojok, who is the Dean Faculty of Special Needs and Rehabilitation, Kyambogo University. You're most welcome.
Thank you, Robert, to have me on this show. It's my second time on Good Morning Uganda. I am the convener of the conference and the Dean of the Faculty of Special Needs Education at Kyambogo University, the faculty that is organizing this conference. Thank you.
Now, when we talk about, to throw more light to our viewer, two words come in here: disability and special needs. Now, I want to begin with the Commissioner. When we talk about a person with disability, then special needs, do they mean the same? Are they categorized differently? Is it just all about, is it potato? What is it?
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Chirabo. I'll use the simplest words to explain these two concepts. When we talk about disability, we are talking about, I would say, a condition that somebody is going through, which is permanent, And this condition has been caused due to an injury or a problem of a certain part of the body. Whether a disease or an injury, for instance. Because of a disease, your eye became sick, or because of an accident, your eye was injured, and because of that, the eye becomes blind. So that condition of being blind is the disability we are talking about. Now, when we talk about special needs is a broader one. This is where we categorize all persons or all children that have different problems, and because of those different problems, they are not able to enjoy their lives or to function like the rest of the people we are calling normal, or the ones we are calling, for us we call them ordinary. But you people in your lay language, you'll say they are normal. So the special needs is a bigger category. This is where we have even like the street children. This is even where we have like the orphans. You know, when a child doesn't have parents, obviously they cannot get what they require, and because of that, they are living very hard lives. So this is even where we have those with a disability and many others. So special needs is bigger, while disability is a component of special needs. Thank you.
Well, now we have these two words because they may sound more in our discussion this morning. Now, Dr. Patrick, when we talk about education, even not only higher education, but education comes to children, students with disabilities. How are we faring as a country in terms of inclusiveness?
Thank you, Robert. First, it is important to look back in history. Historically, persons with disabilities have suffered the most exclusion, disadvantage, and marginalization in education. We are coming from an era where at one point, persons with disabilities were completely excluded from the education system, and this was on the incorrect presumption that they are not able to learn or to benefit from education. Then that wrong conception changed to another one where persons with disabilities were brought into the education system, but with the assumption that they cannot learn together with the rest of the persons in the ordinary education system. So then we created, society created what is called special schools or segregation.
Yes. At least I grew up seeing a number of them.
Yes.
One is, we used to call it even polio along the road.
So special school is a school which is designated for persons with a particular disability.
I remember school
like those who are blind go to the same school. An example is St. Francis Madera, which is in Soroti. So that kind of education is called segregation. It is based on a wrong assumption that when you bring a child who is blind to learn together with the ordinary children in the same class, that child cannot benefit from the system. So inclusive education, first of all, dismantles this exclusion and segregation and presupposes that all children can learn in an equal, on an equal basis in the same setting. It is the teacher who should adjust his teaching approaches to suit the individual needs and potentials of the child in their class. It is the school systems to change, not the child to change. So what can the school systems change? The school can change the policy, schools can change their attitude, schools can adjust environment, school can adjust curriculum content, the way of assessing learners, and so on, and giving every child an equal opportunity to learn irrespective of their disability status. So where are we now? First, it is important to underscore that education is a right to all persons.
Very true.
Including persons with disabilities. And this is in our Constitution, Article 30. It is also on the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, Article 24. So, but the realization of the right to education has not been the same and equitable for all persons. Statistics show that persons with disabilities continue to lag behind all other persons, including other marginalized groups. They lag behind in almost all educational attainment indicators. You are aware, 2 years ago, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament ordered the Ministry of Education to tender an explanation as to why deaf candidates at UCE, PLE, and USCE were every year performing behind all other candidates. That is true also for other candidates with disabilities. So generally, persons with disabilities lag behind in educational attainment, but also there are so many persons with disabilities who are out of school. Those are out of school learners are those who are either not in school or have never been to school, or they have been to school but they dropped out for different reasons. So persons with disabilities have the highest proportion of those who don't ever go to school. Then the issue of transition in between circles, primary, secondary to higher education, is also very low among persons with disabilities. But that is the negative side. There are also quite positive and encouraging milestones that we need to celebrate as a country in terms of disability education. For example, in higher education, our government sponsors 64 students with disabilities every year. That is on a disability scheme.
64 of them?
64 per year. And this started since 2002. And this is in addition to other arrangements like the quota scholarship and the merit scholarship, which some persons with disabilities have earned. Then also in primary level, government supports children with disabilities through subvention grant and other UCE, USE and UPE grants. But it is also important to celebrate that in 1997, when Uganda officially launched UPE, the government of Uganda made it a priority that at that time UPE was only for 4 children per household. But government made it a priority that of the 4, if you have more than 4, an household must give priority to a girl child and then a child with disability. Now that saw a huge number of children with disabilities accessing education. So children with disabilities now access education from primary. The reason we are here is that they access education, but they don't progress so well. So the progression from primary to secondary, for example, is at 6% of those who manage to access primary education. And then this percent reduces even further when we talk about higher education. So my take is that persons with disabilities cannot be relegated to lower levels of education. They also deserve a place in our higher education institutions.
While we're discussing the education sector, focus on inclusive education in higher institutions of learning for persons with disability. Now here I go to the Commissioner. This is your docket. Dr. Rojok has given us the challenges, but also what government has been able to do. Now, when we talk about special needs, that is, which also includes disability, what exactly is your mandate? What exactly do you do? What are those that you can boast over and say we've been able to achieve this as, it's not a department, but in the ministry, your docket, your office commissioner?
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. I want to say that there is quite a lot that we can be proud of, or that we are proud of as a ministry, as a department. I wish to inform you that at Ministry of Education and Sports, we have different departments. But these departments work with one another to see that at the end of the day, we are providing quality education for all. So it's not just about the Department of Special Needs, but it's about the collaborations that we have in there, so that at the end of the day, we have the quality education for all. Now, on the side of learners with special needs, I want to say there is a lot that we are doing, and this is our day-to-day work at the department. One of them is planning effectively for the learners with special needs and across board. Because like he mentioned, we have learners in primary, learners in secondary, we have learners in the higher institutions of learning, and many others. Now, in our planning, it's not that the budget for all these learners is in our department. Like he mentioned, that at higher education, they give 64 slots. The 64 slots, the budget obviously is in the Department of Higher Education and Training, because they are the ones who are dealing with universities. So that is where they are, but we collaborate to see that the right learners have been taken on. And as I speak today, we are lobbying, even the department has also taken it up. We would want to increase the number of slots from 64. We are starting with 100. And the reason is simple. When you look at the national quota, they are taking on 4,000 students on government, and yet for us we have 64. And when you look at those that apply and those that qualify, they are quite a big number. So several of them have been left out. So for a start, this increase is going to go to 100, and then later, government of Uganda has committed itself to increase this number to 320. So we shall be moving in phases to see that these numbers increase. Now, the other thing is that the assistive devices that these students, that these learners with disability use are very expensive. For example, a braille machine which works as a pen, and it works as a pen and a book. Like me, I have a pen and a book, so that person should have a braille machine and braille paper. Braille paper, a carton which would look at almost like a rim, is 350, and this is something that a student should have on a daily basis. The machine itself is at 3.5. So I don't know how many parents, even me myself as a parent, I can't afford this. So Ministry of Education or Government of Uganda is providing this to schools. As a department, we plan for these schools, we procure paper, but you know it can never be enough, because this is paper used on daily basis. But we procure annually and distribute across all schools.
The machines and the paper.
The machines and the paper. But also, like I said, it's never enough.
Yes.
Because like when we're going into UNEB, many schools didn't have paper. But we're also happy, UNEB is also still government. UNEB, during UNEB time, they also give paper, like the way they give the other paper for the other students to sit for exams. So there is quite a lot of collaboration with other departments, and then the provisions. Then also, like as I was speaking, when I talked about the braille machines, you go to a school, you have about 80 people, 80 children, because the schools like Madera, they have bigger populations. Madera School for the Blind, they have 80 students in a class, in the whole school, 80 who are using braille, and then maybe 20 who are low vision. They also use their other methods of learning. But because of the cost of those braille machines, you may find that every other time there could be about 50 or 60 that are functional. So that number is less, and that means at every other time there are students who are not writing. There are students who are not doing their work, because they have to wait for others to do. And then, so why we are here also, partly as much as we are talking about higher inclusive education, it's also good to also tell people out there, like especially even our MPs and others who do the budget allocations and others. Once they pick this kind of information, then this information can be used to see that persons with disabilities get adequate allocations. Like the way Doctor said, that very few of them progress, and the progression is because of so many reasons. One of the reasons is this that I've talked about, because not all of them can write at the same time, not all of them can do this. So when it comes to the final exams, some of them are performing poorly and hence cannot progress.
Yes.
We also work on the issue of teachers. Chambogo does the training of the teachers, and Ministry of Education does the posting, but all along we have issues of few teachers in schools. Equally, they have, and actually learners with disabilities are heavily affected. You go to a school, you find learners right from P1 to P7, but you get about 3 teachers who are trained. So that means if the 3 teachers are the only ones, then if it is primary, out of the 7 classes, it means that 4 classes do not have a teacher who is supporting these learners. And this is also a challenge. And remember, this other one teacher who is in this class, it means that this teacher works throughout, or he has no time of resting.
Then he's finishing P1.
So the challenges are many, but I want to say that as ministry, we are trying to see how can all these challenges be addressed, because Rome wasn't built in one day. So we are building on slowly and slowly, and I know in the future we shall be there, but all of us are very committed to see that learners with disabilities get the right education. And we're also working closely with the district education officers, government secondary, where these teachers, these are the ones who handle the transfer, because we as a department, we do not bring this there, but we also have those other people we work with. So we're also talking to the DOs, because sometimes you find when they have transferred away a teacher from a school, taken this teacher who has been invested in a lot, has all the skills to support these learners, but has been taken to a school that does not have these learners. And for you to replace such a teacher, it really takes years. And for the years you're trying to replace, remember, no learning is taking place. So we rush very fast to the DOs of those districts and plead with them, can we have this teacher coming back to this school so that the teacher can continuously do the work? I think let me leave it at that. And
well, it's
also the other one I forgot about, that which I didn't talk about, is the subvention grant. Because I talked about the universities giving us the 64 slots, and also we have the subvention grants that run from primary to secondary. And like I said, it's not adequate, but government gives additional money to support learners with disabilities in schools. Many of them are on medication. They need so many things. Like I said, things break down and all that. So that little money that we give schools, we want that money to go to issues that affect these learners directly, even food. Because some of them, before they take drugs, they need food. Many parents take children to school and just dump them there. We are saying, can this even subvention also be used for procuring food? Because parents just dump them and leave. So where does the school get food for these learners? Thank you.
Well, it is a complicated situation, but the good news is that our government is doing so much in that direction. It may seem a drop in the ocean so far, but like the commissioner said, Rome was not built in one day. We are still looking at the education sector, but more so disability inclusive higher education. When we return after this short break, we'll be now focusing on the conference that is going to be the first ever East African conference on disability inclusive education. That is at higher level. We'll return shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
The East Africa UK Tourism and Culture Expo 2024 is here, happening on 8th and 9th of November 2024 under the theme Enhancing Tourism as Engine for Social and Economic Transformation on the sidelines of WTM London at the Rembrandt Hotel, 11th Thurlow, PI South Kensington, London, SW7 2RS, United Kingdom. For tickets, exhibitors will pay £1,000 and participants will pay £300. For more information, call +256 787 096 100 or +254 795 806 969. Visit www.eauktourismexpo.com to register.
The Ministry of Health informs the general public that there are some cases of Mpox detected in Uganda. The ministry, working with partners and affected district local government, are doing their best to contain the situation. The signs and symptoms of Mpox are body rash, fever, general body weakness, headache, sore throat, nasal congestion or cough, and swollen lymph nodes. You can prevent yourself from getting infected with Mpox by avoiding close contact with people who have been confirmed to have Mpox or who have signs and symptoms of Mpox. Avoiding touching or sharing personal items like beddings, eating utensils, phones, or other belongings of a person who has the signs and symptoms of Mpox. Avoiding contact, including eating, with all wild animals, alive or dead, especially those known to carry the virus, such as rodents and monkeys, and those that appear sick or have been found dead. Getting vaccinated if you're among those who have been identified to be at high risk of Mpox infection. Mpox is treatable and usually goes away after 2 to 4 weeks. However, it can be severe, causing even death, especially among children, pregnant women, and those with other health conditions. For more information and support, contact your nearest health worker. Call the Ministry of Health's toll-free line on 0800 100 066 or send a free SMS to YouReport on 8500.
Uganda, are you ready to kick things up to the next level? The Uganda National Lottery brings you Sports Take 10. Predict the results of 10 football games and win big. With tickets at only 500 shillings, join the fun and make your predictions count with Sports Take 10. Sports Take 10, your ticket to football glory.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
You're still watching the Extra on UBC TV. Thank you so much for being with us. The education sector focus on disability inclusive education at higher institutions of learning. And in case you have just joined, I have Dr. Patrick Ojok, who is the Dean Faculty of Special Needs and Rehabilitation at Kyambogo University. But I also have the Commissioner for Special Needs at the Ministry of Education and Sports, that is Sarah Bugosi Kiboli. Now, we've focused so much on disability and inclusion, but now we want to go to the upcoming and the first ever East African Conference on Disability Inclusive Higher Education. And here I want to begin with Doctor, the first ever conference. Now, tell us more about this.
Thank you, Robert. I would like to welcome East Africa, Africa, and the world at large to Kyambogo University on 13th and 14th November next week. So we are going to have the first East African Conference on Disability Inclusive Higher Education. First of all, why first? It is not that there have never been a conference on inclusive education or even on higher education, but this is the first inclusive education conference, at least in the sub-region, that we know that has given exclusive focus on disability. Kyambogo University is proud to have this conference because we have a statutory mandate as the university in Uganda that is mandated to train personnel in the area of disability inclusion, and there are different aspects in that. Why this conference? A lot is happening in higher education in terms of persons with disabilities. Last year, a student graduated from Kyambogo University after running away from one university. She spent there 3 years and could not finish her studies in that university that I will not mention, and had to transfer to Kyambogo University to finish, but having taken double the time to graduate. Other students have been turned away from certain university on the notion that their disability cannot allow them to study certain courses. So university environments generally are unfriendly and unwelcoming for staff and students with disabilities. There is limited information to many staff and students with disabilities regarding how best to offer an accessible and inclusive education. And yet there is so much information which is fragmented among us. The conference is going to bring together all higher education institutions in East Africa, and we shall be giving the participants a platform to share information, to share best experience, best practices, to share their experiences, to share evidence, cutting-edge research, and policy initiatives that they have undertaken and have worked, including barriers that are being experienced on how to harness disability inclusion in higher education. Two, when we talk of research and scholarship, in most cases, disability research is mostly Western and North American oriented, and yet we are talking about decolonization and use of indigenous research evidence to inform our local policy and responses. So also this conference comes up with one unique aspect that we shall launch a journal, the African Journal on Disability Inclusive Education, and thereafter quality papers from this conference proceedings will be selected and published in this new journal. And the journal will run every year and continue to publish quality research done by local scholars in the sub-region. The conference also will bring together university leaders. Vice chancellors have been invited and a number of them have confirmed coming. They're also going to sponsor their staff and students to come to Kyambogo University and learn from Kyambogo University's own journey of inclusion of persons with disabilities, which we started way back in 1988 up to now. So we have quite a time of experience in this field. And then we shall also have students with disabilities themselves coming over. We shall have some notable scholars in the continent coming over as keynote speakers from outside Uganda. We shall have government officials and civil society practitioners, including donors. Our first guest is going to be, our chief guest is going to be the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sport. We are so glad that she's going to grace the occasion. Our main sponsor, we have a number of sponsors, but our main sponsors are Norwegian Association of Disabled, shortened as NAD. We are grateful to them. We are also joining hands with NODIPU, National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda, Uganda Society of Disabled Children, and other institutions like Hill Preparatory. So the conference is in high gear. It's just single digits countdown. Next week on Wednesday, we shall be at Kambogo University. And we welcome everybody, we welcome the media to come and cover the conference. So there will be a lot of information sharing, a space for networking, and we shall also form a leadership mechanism of university and higher education leaders who will thereafter champion disability inclusive education in their respective institutions. Yeah, so those are some quick highlights that we can give about the conference.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ojok. It is the first to focus specifically on issues of disability at higher education. Now, this brings me to the Commissioner. We've had conferences in this country. And they have come, we've had the visitors, they have gone, and some are every year. But the biggest question I always ask, the person whose rights they're advocating for, where do they benefit amidst this? We are going to have professors, we are going to have the keynote speakers, the commissioners, but this child struggling, a doctor talked about a child, 6 years, you're chasing a bachelor's, which is 3 years. You know, how directly is this conference going to impact on the lives of the people that you're advocating for?
Okay, thank you so much. It's quite a huge question. But I want to say that it's first of all beginning from us as the people that are working with the disability fraternity, the commitment that we have about the outcome of this conference. Because even when we speak very good things, we do very good things, we have very good papers. But we as individuals who are up there, who are supposed to be the implementers, who are supposed to be the people to give the guidance, if we do not take this seriously and appreciate, then little may be achieved. I want to add that, like Doctor mentioned, we are looking at quite a number of objectives. Like he mentioned, when we are talking about disability, when we are referring, when we want to implement, we are always referring to content that is not local, that is not ours. With this conference, and the way I have seen people working, the university lecturers at Kambogo, even those that are coming, everyone really wants to see the outcome or what is their take, their participation and all that. So in this, we are going to come up with a lot of new knowledge. That new knowledge we are going to add on, and as we add on, then it means we are going to serve these students better. Like he mentioned that there is a student who was in Makerere, not Makerere, sorry, I have, not Makerere, sorry. There is a student who was in another university, and that student was there for the many years that she or he was there, but failed to complete. And then later the student was transferred to Kambogo and completed. So in this, since we are having very many lecturers coming from these universities, even the vice chancellors, previously their challenge has been, because they have not been so close to these people, they thought everything is very hard. When you talk about enrolling these students in some of these universities, they say, it's Kambogo that can do this. But this workshop, this conference is going to be an eye-opener. They will say, so even in our universities, this can as well be done. And if they take that positive direction, then we are going to see many more students with disabilities enrolling in all, both the public and private universities. Now, the other one is, he said the students themselves are going to be there. You know, when you also hear from the students and they speak about themselves, and when we're talking about the students, we're not looking at these undergraduates only. Because even in our working group, the committee that is organizing this, we even have persons with disabilities who went through universities and are placed somewhere. Some of these people are coming to speak to the audiences. People are going to see them. Because some of them, like the employers, fear to employ people with disabilities. But when they see somebody standing up there, and or even sitting, speaking, giving the journey they have given, and also talking about what forms of reasonable accommodations they require, or what forms of support they require for them to perform well, to me, I think that one is going to add us more. It will give us bigger space for these students to thrive now in the education system. The other one I would also look at is also improving on accessibility, because accessibility had remained a challenge. These people are going to see how Kyambogo is and what forms of accessibility models have they put in place. I know people are going to go away with a lot, and whatever they are going to go away with is obviously going to change, first of all, their hearts, the way they do things. It will change even their institutions. It will change everything, and I know it will be giving now space to these students with disabilities to access higher education.
May I add on that?
Yes, please.
Yes, it is important you ask how will the student with disability benefit from all this. First and foremost, change usually starts in the mind. A mindset shift is very key to disability inclusive higher education. So the conference is going to provide a platform that will hopefully dismantle negative attitudes and stereotypes, misconceptions that persons have held towards persons with disabilities. Also, many people give the excuse that they don't know how to provide inclusive higher education. The conference is going to provide opportunity to see how to make this happen in practice. We are going to be exhibiting our assistive technology in the faculty. Other institutions will also bring theirs. We are going to be showing pedagogical initiatives that other people can learn how to accommodate disability in higher education. But also, most importantly, higher education leaders are going to sign up to some resolutions that we have already drafted, committing themselves that thereafter they will take institution-based initiatives towards deliberately promoting disability inclusion in their respective institutions. And when this is done, we may be able to see an era where every institution is competing on how to welcome persons with disabilities, and when they're there, how to make the learning environment, curriculum, and so on, disability responsive. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Patrick Ojok and the Commissioner, Sarah Bugosi Kiboli, for being with me this morning. I must let the two of you go. I know, yes, time is not so much that is left for preparations, but allow me still give each of you just a minute to have your parting shot, beginning with Commissioner.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for hosting us. You know, each time we get such an opportunity, and I know very many people view UBC, this sends a message to people out there to learn more about people with disabilities. And in many forums where I have talked, I have always said that when you find a person who has a positive attitude, who is willing to support a person with a disability, is because these people could be scholars like us, me and Doctor, people maybe who are working directly with people with disabilities, if not a parent of a person with a disability or a relative. But when you find people who have not had contact with, like what I have said, it becomes very difficult for these people to support persons with disability. They may think it's a waste of resources. They will even think these ones should be home, they shouldn't even go to school. These ones shouldn't even look for jobs. But these are human beings. Like the way Doctor brought it up in the beginning. When you look at the UN Convention, the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, give these people the rights to be like any other person. So that awareness, when you bring us here, we know we are giving more information to the public so that this public can be positive, because it shouldn't end with us. The way we treat somebody whom we think is normal should be the same way, or even treat this person even better, because this person has a disability and is not able to function like you who has everything. So it means this person should be given more time and more help so that they can also function. So I want to thank you, and we want to welcome you to Kyambogo on the 12th and 13th. Come and also be part of this conference. People are registering online. Doctor will speak about it. People have to register so that we know how many people are coming, but we welcome all of you because we know your presence will make us proud, and there is something that you'll go with that will support our people.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Dr. Ojok, as we move out of studios, your parting shot.
Thank you, Robert. The nation and the sub-region should know that we are now midway to the Agenda 2030, or the Sustainable Development Goals. And when you reflect at the tracking records of the progress of the sub-region in in SDG number 4, which is on quality and equitable inclusive education, we find that all East African countries are experiencing major challenges with regard to providing quality and equitable inclusive education to persons with disabilities. We cannot attain SDG number 4 if persons with disabilities are not accessing higher education. 2, disability inclusion in education is not a goodwill or a privilege. It is an obligation for all institutions. So we have a legal obligation to make sure that persons with disabilities access higher education everywhere. And 3, the conference is an initiative of the Faculty of Special Needs and Rehabilitation, and Kyambogo University is a leader in this field. We shall continue to come up with the initiatives like this which support the inclusion of persons with disabilities in education. Would like to welcome once more all persons, practitioners, scholars, donors, government and civil society, and persons with disabilities themselves to the conference. Some people think that this conference is only for university dons, so they are planning not to come. No, it is just about higher education, but it is really for everybody. So I expect to see massive numbers. We are ready. All is set at the university, and come let us think together and we make this happen. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Patrick Ojok, who happens to be the Dean, Faculty of Special Needs and Rehabilitation at Kyambogo University. They are organizing this conference. And also the Commissioner in charge of Special Needs Education at the Ministry of Education and Sports, that is Madam Sarah Bugosi Kiboli, for your time. Disability can knock at your door anytime. But if we put in place facilities or an enabling environment, when that shock happens, you have a shock absorber. Have a lovely day. God bless you.
Thank you.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
The East Africa UK Tourism and Culture Expo 2024 is here, happening on 8th and 9th of November 2024 under the theme Enhancing Tourism as Engine for Social and Economic Transformation on the sidelines of WTM London at the Rembrandt Hotel, 11th Thurlow, PI South Kensington, London, SW7 2RS, United Kingdom. For tickets, exhibitors will pay £1,000 and participants will pay £300. For more information, call +256 787 096 100 or +254 795 806 969. Visit www.eauktourismexpo.com to register.
The Ministry of Health informs the general public that there are some cases of Mpox detected in Uganda. The ministry, working with partners and affected district local government, are doing their best to